Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. What's going on, Antoine? Hope everybody is doing well out there. You are probably, if you read the title and the description below, expecting a guest. He is going to be coming on in a little bit after we go through some of our announcements. He's got some previous plans, but stay tuned for that because Chris from They Live by Film is going to come in and we're going to talk about Vinegar Syndrome and five of our picks for some of our favorite partner label releases. So stick around. It's going to be a fun night. I've got all of the announcements queued up and ready to go, of which there are not that many. It's been a shockingly slow week, but that's good. It allows everybody to prepare for the carnage that will be next weekend. If there are any questions about the Vinegar Syndrome sale, anything going on in physical media right now, let me know. I will be happy to answer. It is something that is near and dear to my heart, and I'm more than happy to share with the community as we always do. That being said, before I jump into this, it is the 19th of May, and the 20th of the month is our cutoff date for the Patreon giveaway. If you have not signed up for the Disconnected Patreon and you would like to be included in that possible giveaway for this month, make sure you sign up at the link in the description below. And we are going to be drawing for that this weekend, and I'm going to be getting that package mailed out early next week. Hopefully, sorry, Cam, hate to say this. Hopefully, we get a different winner. Nerd of the 80s, who is here saying, "What up, people?" He has been the luckiest person in the world, spending a honeymoon in Greece and winning two packages back to back for the Patreon. So come on and unseat him. Jeff, yes. Next week, this is the perfect segue. Thanks for that setup. Next week, we're going to be doing our regular show. We're going to be doing all the announcements, and we're going to take a short break and then stream live for the Vinegar Syndrome sale late next Thursday. We're going to dive into everything. We're going to see what all got announced, what the catalog slips are, what the box is, all the new partner label releases, go into the merch, and everything. This is somebody new to the channel. Says, "Hi, is this the Serbian Film Appreciation YouTube channel?" It is, but only after midnight. Please come back after dark, and we will absolutely be talking all things Serbian film all night long. John, I love you. You're the best. Let's say hi to everybody. Flickering Waves, what's going on, sir? Dave, glad you're here. Jeff, my friend, good to see you. Sulako88, welcome back. Sardis, my friend Jesse, you're good. Glad you're here. Sulako says, "Is Coca-Cola Kid any good?" It is. It is a good film. It is a well-made film. It is one that not everybody's going to love. It is certainly recommended, as is everything from Fun City. They are one of the better ones. That's for sure. Cam, glad you're here. And let's see. Bubba Fett is saying, we lost a really incredible composer today. It is one that I completely. It hurt for sure. He's done some really great work. Chris, can't wait for the live sale stream. Awesome. Hope you come back for it. Hilton says, "Best watch of the week was Funky Forest from Air 4444. That is a hell of a mouthful. Funky Forest and Warp Forest still available from Third Window Films. And that is a great recommendation time for our guest tonight. Our guest tonight is going to be Chris Haskell from They Live by Film, which is a really great podcast, and they do a lot of the same thing I do. They get a guest from a boutique label, and they discuss with them like everything physical media, how they license their films, what kind of things that they are focusing on, maybe what's going on in their neck of the woods and everything. And they had a representative from Third Window Films who is literally the entire company by himself. I've always advocated for Third Window Films, but it is something that if you listen to that episode, you're just going to want to shovel money into them. So I would strongly suggest you go subscribe on your podcast distributor of your choice to get They Live by Film and listen to that episode because it is very good. Video store review. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. If I have, I'm sorry. I'm exhausted. Maybe I have. Either way, I'm glad you're here. John, famous lover of a Serbian film, says Coca-Cola Kid is really good. Yes, it is a really good film. It's just not going to be one that everybody loves. Anthony says, is Tokyo Decadence a good recommendation? I have not watched it yet. I got to be honest. Sardis doesn't like the blue hue. Let me change it for you. The Tokyo Decadence is one that people that I trust have said that they love, and I will stand by that. Is that better? Or are we just looking for normal? Let's do some relaxing. Dave said added Yellow Essentials to the collection this week. Nice. That's those are some good releases, especially if you don't have any of the first two. And then that third one is all brand new. That's it's turning into a really good line. Lissa, what's going on? Not complaining. Sardis, that is it's a holdover from the interview that is going to be dropping on the channel tomorrow, but we're going to talk about that in just a minute. I figure it is probably time to get to some of these announcements. Anybody else feeling the same? Because I know I am ready. Let me get it pulled up for you. And then I saw an interesting comment here. Flickering says, best watch of the week was Inland Empire. Really pleased with the new presentation. I'm really hoping we get a new disc from Criterion. It looks like we should be. Movies by Easier. What's going on? John says, Tokyo Decadence is great. Gotta love sex and violence. And that is literally exactly word for word what I've heard. So as long as you're into that, get on it. Tokyo Decadence and Unearthed Films. I mean, they don't get a lot of love. They don't get a lot of coverage. That's the big thing. I try to talk about them as much as I can. But Unearthed Films is doing some incredible work lately. Video Store says, I've not caught many live streams lately. Busy studying to get my master's. Oh my gosh. That is incredible, dude. Congratulations. Or dudette. Or you. Person. You. Man, that is impressive. Studying to get my master's in film curation and programming with the National Film School and BFI. That is awesome. Congratulations. I sincerely wish for the absolute best in success for you. Speaking of sex and violence, let's get into our announcements, with the first being Made in Sweden. This is coming from Code Red via Kino Lorber in August 9th. This is starring the one and only Christina Lindberg, who everybody seems to know from Thriller, a Cruel Picture, also known as They Call Her One Eye, the one that is about to be released from Vinegar Syndrome. So if you want a very Christina Lindberg summer, this is probably a great choice. I don't think I've seen this one. This is listed as an incredibly sexy U.S.-Swedish co-production. Young Inga, played by Lindberg, is a country milkmaid, longs for a trip to Stockholm, the Swedish capital. Leaving her rural home for a weekend in the big city, Inga soon discovers her beauty and ample assets gets her into a bit of trouble. Gotta love good copy. Deserting her country life sensibilities for a slice of urban values, Inga's romantic adventures will shock and entertain. Made in Sweden is an erotic coming-of-age story and is one of the very first film roles for cult film starlet Christina Lindberg. This is a new 2K restoration, has a trailer, and nothing else. Classic Code Red disc. Let's see. Bubba Fett says, I love Lynch, but I've watched Inland Empire twice and do not like it. I have found that is absolutely true for Lynch's filmography for a lot of people. They seem to like a lot of very individual titles, but then others they despise. Hilton, bummed that we won't be getting the BFI targets. That was on my notes to cover tonight. I did not share this on Instagram, but it's a good time to talk about it. So BFI announced that they are having issues with the elements for targets, and the entire release at the moment is canceled. It is not something that they could control. It is just the point that they could not get the film at the stage that they could release it and put out a product that they could stand by. It is something that I sincerely hope we get a good release of in the future, but if the elements are shot, I don't know that we're going to. What we have out there on DVD and everything is possibly going to be it. So it's certainly rough. This is why not only this hobby, obviously, and I'm not standing up saying I'm saving the world or anything, but these companies that do what we all love, that's why a lot of this is so important. They are archiving cinema day to day, literally. And a film like Targets that is super important, that has been around, what year did Targets even come out? God, that is a decades long ago release, obviously. I don't want to lose that. I want that to be able to be seen by future generations. And without, good restoration, without good archiving, without a good 4K scan digitally saved, it is at the point where we could lose some of the cinema. And other cultures have certainly lost a lot of their cinema. But we're going to be talking about some other cultures through some of this, as we just talked about Sweden. Jeff, that sounds right, somewhere around there. So let's continue on with our announcements. After Made in Sweden, we found out that one of the mid-year sales titles from Severin is going to be All About Evil. A mousy librarian inherits her father's beloved but failing old movie house. In order to save the family business, she discovers her inner serial killer and a legion of rabid gore fans when she starts turning out a series of grisly shorts. What her fans don't realize yet is that the murders in the movies are all too real. I love this cover. And then the artwork is this, and we got Natasha Lyonne in it. Very, very interesting. I'm curious about this one. This was, I believe, if I'm remembering the right title, this was directed by Peaches Christ, who has done a lot and is still very prominent. In fact, Peaches just did one of the awards for the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. Peaches was one of the presenters. So, yeah, All About Evil is the third title that we know for a fact will be a part of the Severin not really halfway to Black Friday. I think they call it the mid-year sale. And it's a little earlier than it has been over the last couple of years. So we're going to get the Vinegar Syndrome sale, have a weekend off, and then be right back to it. It is a busy time, and there is a lot of coverage to come with this. I assure you. What's next? Fun City Edition. So last Friday, I put out one of my interviews that I've been putting out with the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. I hope you watched that. Hope you enjoyed it. I just alluded to that I have another interview coming out. The lighting was a holdover from that. I've got that releasing tomorrow. It is possibly my last of the partner label interviews that I have coming for Vinegar Syndrome month. I have found that everybody involved, of course, has been very busy lately. I would have loved to have gotten a handful more, but it is, I've got some contacts and I've got more coming throughout the year. So if you're into that sort of thing, I adore feedback. If there's any questions that I'm not asking these labels that you want to know more about, let me know. I am always open to feedback, always open to hearing what you guys want to know, and I'm more than happy to keep sharing the wealth. These labels are a literal gold mine of knowledge, and the one dropping tomorrow, it is possibly our most all-inclusive interview for one of these labels yet. And if you know your partner labels, that might actually give a hint to who is coming tomorrow. Our patrons will be the first to know, because I will be letting them know after the stream tonight who is going to be on the channel. I appreciate you guys watching. These have done pretty well this year, so I'm definitely appreciating that. Also on Friday, we found out that Paramount, no surprise to any of us who has seen this milked for years and years, they are releasing at least the first Friday the 13th in 4K in September of this year. Of course, on September 13th. The rumors that I've heard behind the scenes, I'm not going to say that this is official, but from what I hear, we are going to be getting a routine release of a handful of these, the ones owned by Paramount, in 4K. I am not entirely sure who the others currently belong to, because that has been up in the air a little bit. But the 4K rights, I don't see it being something that we get all of them again, and I certainly don't see like a 4K box set or anything like that. We talked a lot about re-releases last week. I get it. I understand the format change. Is it required or necessary? Probably not. They're probably going to look better than they've ever looked. But, I mean, everybody just bought that Friday the 13th box set. So make a sensible choice. If you're a huge fan of these, get them. And if not, probably save your bucks. Although I'm willing to bet these are not going to be very expensive. They're only going to be a 4K and digital release. It's not going to be Blu-ray, DVD, some big triple pack format or anything like that. They know that you've bought these 8 other times, and they're just hoping you'll make that 9. All right. On Saturday, we had Kino Lorber announce a Dandy in Aspic from 1968. This has Lawrence Harvey and Mia Farrow, and I know nothing about this. Again, my big blank spot is classic Hollywood, and this is one of those that I don't know, but it's coming, and Kino does good works, does good work. And let's carry on. They also announced Dream Child coming soon from Kino Lorber. This is a new HD master by MGM, and for those that don't know, this is one I am going to pre-order because it includes the creations of Jim Henson. This is one of those oddities where they were getting into film finally, and this was square in the middle of the 80s where, you know, the Muppet Show had taken off, Sesame Street was taking hold, and they had these other creations like Dark Crystal would turn out to be, Fraggle Rock, everything else. Kino is killing it. And I will throw out one more time. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, but we don't say this enough. If you are going to be getting Kino titles, pre-order directly from Kino. They, you know, $50 free shipping. That's great. And they ship UPS, but then on top of that, they are always cheaper through Kino Lorber, whether it's a sale or not. A title like this, I guarantee you, will probably be somewhere between $14 and $16. You go somewhere else, even like an Amazon, this will be a $20 title all day. So you can get 3 or 4 titles straight from Kino, get that free shipping, get it pre-ordered to come to your house, and you're probably getting about a free movie because on each one you're saving $4 to $5. So it is absolutely worth it. Kino takes far too much out of my wallet, that's for sure. This one, by the way, let's see. Directed by Gavin Miller, starring Inholm, Coral Brown, Peter Gallagher, Jane Asher. Not some huge voices or faces in this, but I'm curious. I've not seen this one, so I'm dying to see it. I'm a Henson whore, basically. What an awful name. Speaking of whores, oh man, that was a perfect segue. A new distribution company called Malambra Films. Malambra Films is fundraising for the first restoration, which is going to be The Sex of Angels from 1968. There's an Indiegogo link here in this post on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever, and they are trying to restore this film. So from their Indiegogo, they say, "We are a newborn distribution company which aims to bring back overlooked cult films of the past back to life. Our mission is to distribute exclusive premiere genre films restored in the highest definition from the OCNs. The films we have rediscovered and carefully selected belong to a variety of genres, all of which you will enjoy on Blu-ray, on your favorite streaming platforms, and even in selected cinemas across the UK. This is only the beginning of what we will do. Your help means more films for more enjoyment, bringing a new series of volumes back to life with added extra contents, including making of documentaries and interviews with the filmmakers." I love when we get announcements like this. Obviously, we have titles coming. That's exciting. But the big thing is we have more groups archiving film, rediscovering film, and sharing it with all of us. So one of the cool things with this one is they say Malambra is divided into volumes, each one exploring a theme, time, or filmmaker. All volumes contain a range of films to explore the sections above from all different perspectives and to gain a brimming understanding of the chosen topic. The first volume is Italian genre films, specifically of the 1960s. And the first one is this, The Sex of Angels. And on their Indiegogo, they only have 2 options. So if you want to get in on the ground floor, this is £25 for the limited edition Blu-ray of Sex of Angels with the uncut film, lots of extras, and exciting custom-made packaging. Or you can give £55 and you'll get the limited edition Blu-ray of the film plus a custom-made poster in A2 format. And that is great. I'm so glad that they are sharing things like this. I love when we get new companies like this. But that's the perfect segue because this is not the only awesome announcement like this that we got. Maybe it was before this. Whoops. We'll get into that other one in just a minute. Criterion had their announcements, and it seems to be a very divisive month. Criterion is putting out Daddy Longlegs. This is the Safdie brothers film from 2009. Obviously, through Uncut Gems and everything that they've been doing behind the scenes, the Safdie brothers and Criterion have a pretty strong relationship going now. And this is a new 4K digital transfer approved by the brothers. New interviews with the actors and musician, a documentary from 2017 about the Safdies, footage from the first meeting with the actor, making a program, a short film by the Safdies from 2008, deleted scenes, all kinds of stuff. This looks like a pretty good release. This is something that I did not ever expect to come out through Criterion, but I'm glad it's here. Continuing the odd month is one that is very surprising. This one is from 2007, and this is called Frownland, a nightmare transmission from the grungiest depths of the New York indie underground. The visceral, darkly funny, and totally sui generis debut feature from Ronald Bronstein is a dread-inducing vision of misfit alienation at its unhinged extreme. In a maniacal performance of almost frightening commitment, Doorman plays Keith, a disturbingly maladjusted social outcast and self-described troll whose neuroses plunge him into an unstoppable spiral of self-obliteration as his crummy coupon-selling job, pitiful living situation, featuring the roommate from hipster Brooklyn hell, and last remaining human relationships disintegrate around him. As captured in the grimy expressionist grain of Sean Price Williams' claustrophobic camera work, Frownland is DIY cinema at its most fearless, uncompromising, and unforgettable. This is one that I have not seen, but I've heard about it for quite some time. I am shocked that this is getting a great release like this. Speaking of the Safdie brothers, the filmmaker for this and Josh Safdie are on this disc having a conversation. We got some deleted scenes, an introduction by the filmmaker, and an essay by critic Richard Brody. I would have loved to see a little more. It's not terrible. Oh, man. Cam says the Indiegogo campaign is currently under review and has been removed from the site. I bet it's because they had the poster on the site unedited, so you could see the illustrated nipples and everything. Oh, my God. Shocking. I hate how that happens. Censorship is never great. Ken, what's going on? Glad you're here. Maximus is here too. Hey. We are talking about the Criterion announcements at the moment. Got a few more left. We get Hotel du Nord from 1938. This is by Marcel Carnet, and it's anguished young lovers, fallen women, wanted criminals, and all manner of social cast-offs. These are the disreputable denizens of the Hotel du Nord, an atmospherically seedy boarding house on the bustling banks of the Canal Saint-Martin in Paris, whose lives collide in this bittersweet rhapsody of romance, betrayal, revelry, and violence. This is one from 1938. Again, I've not seen. I'm not one that is super deep into these classic cinema, but this one sounds pretty interesting. I'd love to see how these characters interact. This is a new 2K restoration. New conversation between filmmaker Jean-Pierre Jeunet and journalist Philippe Morrison. Television program from 1972 on the making of the film. A documentary from 1994 on the life and career of the director. That is enough to sell me, probably. The making ofs and the director, the director documentary. Those are big deals. I would much rather see those than commentaries any day. I'm a big fan of these currently made documentaries or newly unearthed things from years ago where they talk about the making of. That is my favorite aspect of these. Then we are getting Buck and Preacher from Criterion. This is from 1972 and stars Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte, but it's also directed by Poitier. With his rousingly entertaining directorial debut, Poitier helped rewrite the history of the Western, bringing black heroes to a genre in which they had always been sorely underrepresented. Combining boisterous buddy comedy with blistering Black Power era political fury, Poitier and a marvelously mischievous Harry Belafonte star as a tough and taciturn wagon master and an unscrupulous pistol-packing preacher who join forces in order to take on the white bounty hunters threatening a westward-bound caravan of recently freed enslaved people. I know that some people were hoping for a different Western this month, but this is one that I think continues a move from Criterion to diversify. And I think that's a good thing. I think that this is one that's important, helps with representation, and it'll be good for the brand overall. And speaking of the brand overall, one of the guests that are going to be with us tonight, since there is only one guest, loves a lot of the films that come out from Criterion. So I think it's about time to bring on Chris from They Live by Film. Chris, how we doing?
Hey, what's happening?
You look magnificent. Loving the hair tonight.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I combed it for you.
I feel honored. It looks great. How's everything going?
Dude, it's great. You know, I was thinking about this release that you have up on the screen when it came out. What's that Western that just came out? It's like an all-black Western, and it came out like last year.
Came out last year.
Okay, I'll find it in like 5 minutes, but like, or in like a minute. But like, I feel like the timing of this release is great from a marketing standpoint because there was like this celebration of how, you know, there used to be like these black Westerns, and that like topic was kind of a little bit more in the culture because of this movie that just came out. And so I thought it was really smart from a marketing standpoint for Criterion to do this. Hold on.
Obviously, on top of that, it's also good because Poitier's gone, and that will, you know, there's a lot that we can mine into there. And this, we got a brand new 4K digital restoration, new interview with Mia Mask, author of Black Rodeo, a history of the African American Western. That is also good.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes footage featuring actor director Sidney Poitier and actor Harry Belafonte, and then interviews with Poitier and Belafonte from 72. Episodes of Soul and the Dick Cavett Show. There's a lot going on there.
It's awesome. The Harder They Fall is the one I was trying to think of. Sorry.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for this release.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sardis, you're exactly right. That's the one.
And then I think this is the last one. We got announced coming in August from Criterion, Faya Dayi. I'm probably butchering that. I don't know Ethiopian at all. A sublime work of personal vision, the debut feature by the Mexican-Ethiopian filmmaker Jessica Bashir is a hypnotic documentary immersion in the world of Ethiopia's Oromo community, a place where one commodity, khat, a euphoria-inducing plant once prized for its supposedly mystical properties, holds sway over the rituals and rhythms of everyday life. What are you thinking?
I honestly don't know much about this director or film. This is one it sounds awesome. Like it sounds like it might have been part of the World Cinema Project or something at one point. Like, you know, it sounds like a great movie. So I'm excited to check it out for sure.
This is a brand new 2021 film. And super stoked that we're getting more representation from cultures like this. And then obviously it's not the most important aspect, but this cover art is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, that's really nice.
This is one that I really wish that they would occasionally, maybe once every 2 or 3 months, release some posters, Criterion. I would love to give you $20 to send me a poster.
Yeah, actually, this would be a beautiful poster. You're right.
This or the Godzilla Collection. Can you imagine that fluorescent hanging up on your wall? That'd be great.
The artwork on that is phenomenal. Yeah, there was a post a while ago on all the Criterion cover artists. Let me see if I can link it or something. It's cool. These people are amazing that they get.
I do wish that more of the labels were able to credit their artist. I mean, obviously they're all able to, but Criterion puts it on every single one of their pages when they have the product listings. Vinegar Syndrome does too, but certainly not everybody. It is something that if you're digging the art from one person, you could always, you know, go follow their Instagram or something to give more support. Because a lot of them, they sell prints, not necessarily of these, but of other stuff.
Yeah.
Now that you're here, go ahead.
Did you talk about this? I think a lot of people were hoping that Criterion was going to announce a box set this month.
I did not. No, which rumor was that? Because I've heard a few different rumors on box sets.
No, just the more based on history than a rumor.
Ah,
You know, because
it's
these are the
been a while.
August releases that you just talked about, right?
Yep.
That's a big month for box sets historically. And so I think some people were bummed out that there wasn't like some big, you know, like Kurosawa box set or something, like some big thing. But
That's the big one everybody keeps leaning on is
right,
Kurosawa, which I
right,
really hope it comes.
sure.
Uh, this is not too incredibly important. I help produce a couple of podcasts. You can go back and find this if you want, just to dive into some more things that I'm helping to support right now. Next up, we are getting Live Die Repeat, also known as Edge of Tomorrow, in a 4K steelbook from Best Buy. This is a step up from the previous release, so this should be a pretty good one. This is currently available to pre-order, and it is a little on the expensive side for a newer movie coming out in 4K, but we'll see. Back to the cool stuff. Kino announced coming in 3D with help from the 3D Film Archive, Buona Devil from 1952, and all of their 3D films from the last, gosh, I think they've been doing this 3 or 4 years now. They've been doing 1 or 2 a year. They have been phenomenal quality. So if you are into 3D, and you don't have to have like a crazy 3D TV, they put these out with the polarized glasses and everything. This has both versions, the polarized and anaglyphic on the disc. This is with Robert Stack, Barbara Britton, and Nigel Bruce. And the director on this is Arch Obler with a Time for Beanie sequence written and directed by the animation legend Robert Clampett. How do you feel about 3D?
Oh, totally neutral, like completely ambivalent on it. I was laughing at A Lion in Your Lap. Like, I don't know. There's a couple of the or maybe only one Friday the 13th movie.
Just one, yeah.
Yeah, where they do it. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really know. Like, you know, they do these things. I don't think it ever took off, but they have these like sensory. They call it 4D experiences where they put smells in the theater and will like splash water on you and stuff. And like, I don't know. It kind of always felt gimmicky to me. Like I get it. If I'm near an ocean, I get it. I don't need to have water splashed on me.
I get that. And then there's obviously like the old William Castle things that were super gimmicky, but for a lot of people that was the most like immersive experience that they've ever had. So some of these they hold some real actual history and what they were able to do for people back then.
No, and I mean, you know, maybe I shouldn't be so hard on it. It's a cool. I mean, you know, it's a technological innovation, and like it's impressive and all that. But yeah, I guess not for me.
Not a lion in your lap person, huh?
Not a lion in the lap person.
I went to God, what is it called? D-Box. Have you been to a D-Box theater before?
No.
So D-Box is well, it's expensive. And the first time I went was like a decade ago. I bet it's crazy expensive now. I went to one in California, middle of the high desert, and essentially it is a motion seat where you are sitting in this and they have it programmed with the movie. So it's only for very specific films.
All right.
To move or to shake, or like if there's a gunshot, it feels like it ricochets like off of your seat. It was the best thing that I've done with a movie ever.
Okay.
And it was not gimmicky. It was incredible. But the crazy thing is you can buy D-Box seats for your house.
No way.
And they are like $2,000 a piece. So I can't imagine. But yeah, if you look at any of these movies, like the one I saw, it was Cabin in the Woods. If you go look on the back of a Cabin in the Woods, you'll probably see something that says it is D-Box ready.
That movie's wild too. That'd be a fun one to like the big reveal for that movie is amazing.
It is.
That might be a fun one to do it on. You said it's $2,000 for the chair?
Something like that, yeah, for one.
How much is some of these out of print slipcovers at Vinegar Syndrome going for? I feel like it's kind of like 50-50.
Yeah, you could probably sell like 15 slips and get a chair, yeah. Let's see. We got just a couple more left for this time. We got indicator announcements during the day. Usually they come in the U.S. It's an overnight thing. This came today. We are getting Robin Hood at Hammer, two Tales from Sherwood Forest. We are getting Sword of Sherwood Forest and a challenge for Robin Hood. Those are from 1960 and 67. And one of these, we got Richard Green and Peter Cushing in. The other one is C.M. Pennington Richards, A Challenge for Robin Hood. Barry Ingham dons the Lincoln Green. And this is going to come with an 80-page book in one of the fancy Indicator box sets. Robin Hood. What do you think about Robin Hood films?
First of all, Indicator always has the best cover art. Look at that thing. Like it's just like every single thing they do is a work of art. That's so impressive.
It is.
I actually hadn't seen this yet, man. This is awesome. Yeah, no, I love Robin Hood. I've got Mill Creek put out all like the Robin Hood TV show from the 50s or something. I don't know, 60s.
Yeah.
I've got that, and the Adventures of Robin Hood is way more fun than it should be, like the old Errol Flynn one. So yeah, I don't know, I like them.
The Errol Flynn one is on Disney Plus, I believe, for anybody that's not seen it.
Oh, cool.
And it's a great time to go catch up on that. The rough thing about Indicator this month, these are all coming out on August 22nd, only in the UK. They announced no US titles this month. So interesting
I thought they set up a sales arm over here.
They did, and they've released titles in most months. I think this is going to be the second month of the year that they've had nothing in the US.
Oh, anyways, okay, interesting.
The second one that we're getting is Madigan, starring Richard Widmark and Henry Fonda. This is from 1968, and the film sees Hollywood legends Richard Widmark and Henry Fonda in a gritty police procedural set in Spanish Harlem. Directed by Don Siegel, immediately before beginning his series of acclaimed collaborations with Eastwood, Madigan bridged the gap between classic film noir and the tough detective stories of the 70s. I'm curious why they didn't come out in the US. I wonder who's got the rights here.
Yeah, there must be something on the horizon. Have you seen the Dirty Harry movies?
A long time ago. I'm not, I've talked about it on here before, I'm not real big into Eastwood.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know, Don Siegel's, he's got that gritty, like his movies have like a good vibe to them. There's always like an intensity to them. He's able to capture that really well. I haven't seen Madigan before, but Escape from Alcatraz is great. I like Dirty Harry for what it's worth. I think he even did the original Invasion of Body Snatchers or the one in the 50s. Anyways, I like Don Siegel a lot. That's cool to see this is coming out.
Han says Kino released Madigan in the US. That makes sense. This definitely feels like a Kino title.
Yeah, for sure.
And finally, from Indicator, we are finally getting the release that they teased a while ago. Burt Lancaster in The Swimmer. This is similar to the Grindhouse releasing one. Let's see. I know that they put this up on their website. One of the things that really sets apart the Grindhouse one is it has the CD soundtrack with it. I am not sure if this one has it or not. Let me check.
That's interesting that I forgot that they announced this like a long time ago, right?
Yeah, I think it was in one of their catalogs. I think it was not like a big, hey, we're doing this sort of thing.
Totally forgot about this.
Let's see. It says UK premiere on Blu-ray, limited edition of 5,000 copies, exclusive booklet with new essays. I don't see anything about the CD soundtrack. So if you were wanting that, the Grindhouse releasing may still be the way to go. But again, Indicator does really good with these. And this is going to be another one of those hardbox single releases, kind of like the Irreversible set. So
yeah. There's this guy, Frank Perry, the director. Yeah. He's got, I like his story a lot. He's an interesting guy. He did, what's the name of it? There's a second director on this. Sidney Pollack is the other director on this movie. And Sidney Pollack kind of helped him get his start. And he's a super sharp guy. Anyways, this movie is, I don't know, I love it. It's pretty wild.
It's a very unique movie, and one that I strongly suggest if you have never seen it, especially if you're overseas. This is one that has kind of risen a little more in recent time because of that Grindhouse releasing movie. But again, not a lot of people have seen this. It feels like it doesn't get the love that it really deserves. This is super unique, and again, 80-page book, limited edition. This is probably going to be the definitive release of this film.
Well, good tie-in to Vinegar Syndrome month. Because this guy did Rancho Deluxe as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So, anyways, there's a good tie-in to the theme of the month here.
Absolutely good tie-in. And the first thing before we get into all that Vinegar Syndrome talk is to share what's coming out next Tuesday, which is surprisingly a lot. We had very few announcements this week, but next week coming out is a whole lot of titles, both mainstream and boutique. We got the Batman coming in 4K. You've got the Best Buy Steelbook if you want that. The Scream Factory titles. We're getting Candyman in 4K, Life Force in 4K, and then Wild Things coming from Arrow next week, and they've got like 4 different versions of that. X from A24 is finally coming out. That was available on Orbit earlier today, and it's already sold out. Whoops. Malignant coming out in 4K. One Armed Boxer from Arrow. Times Square, the Tim Curry movie coming from, I think that's Scorpion releasing via Kino. RoboCop the series, Studio 666, Mississippi Masala from Criterion. Anything that you're getting next week that's really sticking out to you?
No, I have. I just heard. I had no idea, but we've talked before about Fractured Visions, and they have that podcast, Fractured Listen. So I just heard the Frank Henenlotter one, and that X movie is by a director named Ty West.
Yep.
I mean, obviously Ty West is quite well known at this point, but they were an intern with Frank Henenlotter, and he kind of was the one that helped get them some notoriety. So all of a sudden now I'm really keen to go support Ty West. I'll probably pick that up. I'll probably get RoboCop the series. Mississippi Masala is one I actually saw when I was younger. I kind of have it's like a sentimental one.
Yeah.
For me, I really like it. And then the Pimini organization. So along with the Pimini organization is a whole slew of indicator stuff that's going to get shipped to me from right around now from the UK.
Nice. Was that a pre-order or one of the sale buys?
No, it was like a day one pre-order.
Beautiful.
The obscure British cinema stuff, they're very selective with it. So if they're going to put something out that doesn't have a lot of notoriety, it's usually awesome. So I'm just kind of trusting them there. And the way they speak about it makes me super geeked about it. So
I agree. When they announced it, I said I have to have this.
Yeah.
I think we've covered most of what is coming next week. Lots of titles, but there's some really good stuff. If anybody's looking for anything specific that's not there, or you see something out of stock and you can't find it somewhere, let me know. I will try to help you find it. Now, Vinegar Syndrome month. We have talked on here a little bit on one of our shows, but we never did this live. So what is your history with Vinegar Syndrome? Because you've talked about it for a long time on your podcast. You seem to be the main one that likes that sort of thing on there and championing that physical media.
Okay. So when I was in college, all the way back in 2001, the Blockbuster Video that I worked at had a trauma section. And it was one of the few in the country that did, because it was a franchise. And because it was a franchise, the owner just happened to love trauma. And I guess it just kind of passed all the security checks. So I got into trauma movies quite young. I mean, in college anyways. And when I went to New York, it was 2009 or 10, it's in that range. My wife and I took a trip to New York, and I drug her through Queens, in the industrial part of Queens, to this old abandoned fire station that had been remade into Trauma Studios. And met Lloyd Kaufman. This is all going somewhere, I promise. Met Michael Hertz, who the elusive Michael Hertz. Met a couple of the interns there. So I've always been a huge fan of trauma. I've actually brought, so to tie into your question, once I took a little bit of a break and I started getting into Blu-ray buying about 3 years ago, and I saw that Sugar Cookies had come out through Vinegar Syndrome, and I know that is a trauma movie. And you can always tell, by the way, usually it's on the bottom, they have that ugly green trauma logo. So anyways, you can always kind of tell. They probably put out 20, 25 trauma films at this point. Yep. And the one I was so geeked out about was Blades. Have you seen this?
Blades it's wild.
It's so good. It just makes me laugh so hard. So anyways, I came through Vinegar Syndrome through trauma is the short answer. and never been huge into like I guess the erotic stuff that they put out. But I feel like the curation team over there, outside of that, like we'd be best buds. Like every single thing they find, for the most part, I like. They have some duds, but that's kind of the risk of swimming in the pools that they choose to swim in. You're gonna
Right.
get infected every now and again, you know.
Well, we had decided when we were going to do this that we were going to pick 5 partner label releases that we were going to champion, because Vinegar Syndrome kind of has a lot of voices already hyping them up. But is there any specific for Vinegar Syndrome that you think people really should talk about that maybe don't get a lot of love?
Yeah, a few. So I'll cycle through these really fast.
Yeah, sure.
There's a theme you're going to notice from me tonight. I was kind of thinking about how to do this. So one of my favorite things about Vinegar Syndrome is that they're kind of moving beyond this exploitation brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's happening kind of in a big way. So Fleischer Frankenstein, it's cool cover, beautiful box set, but like what this means is really interesting to me. Like if they start putting stuff out from Andy Warhol's factory,
right?
I don't know if they're going to do more of that, but that's super interesting. If that's just kind of a one-off, then that's cool as well. But there's this trend I've noticed where if you look at, well, actually, before I say that, before I get into the high art stuff that they're doing, you got to get ticks. This movie's cool. But like, what's the guy's name? This guy's name?
Clint Howard.
What?
Clint Howard.
Thank you. He hams it up with like the best of them, and like he's so good in this movie. Anyways, I love ticks.
And it looks beautiful. That is such a great release. It looks so damn good.
Yeah, they did such a good job with it. But so that's always going to be there. You can always get the tick stuff from them. This month, last month, they put out Death Wish 2, which is super cool. But the thing I really want to call, if I have one thing I can like kind of like draw attention to, is their Vinegar Syndrome Pictures line. So New York Ninja aside, these are all VSP, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So New York Ninja aside, because that's such a unique story, and just a cool story. But that aside, Censor is awesome. And the director is a woman named Prano Bailey Bond. She has an interview with this podcast called Fractured Listens. I'd recommend anybody go check her out. She speaks so fluently about horror. She's just like in the world. And so she made Censor. She was super into the video nasty scene. She made a movie about censors in the video nasty world and like what happens if one of them kind of lost their sanity a little bit. It's really good. One second, I'm gonna mute when this siren goes by.
Okay. Censor is great. It looks really nice. It's not one of my favorites, but it is something that if you were looking for a really well-made modern film, it is one that should be up there for sure.
And then Scary of 61st. So I don't know if anybody is sort of familiar or has seen Zulawski's Possession here, but like go see that if you haven't, because that movie's insane.
Please.
And I never thought that anybody would be able to sort of duplicate the vibe or the feel of that movie, but they do it. Like The Scary of 61st is another new movie, another female director. So they're finding, and the way they kind of describe it was that they were really happy with the VSP Vinegar Syndrome Pictures line because they're able to find films nowadays that fit the vibe of the films they would put out had they been made like 30 years earlier. And you know, they're good at curation. And so honestly, like all of those films, I really enjoy having in my collection. I'm really happy to support. And that's what I feel like. That's what I would recommend someone go pick up in the sale. What about you?
The Scary of 64th or 61st. Whoops. It's odd because I watched it and I respected the hell out of it, but I recognized about halfway through that I am not the demographic for it. So I knew that I was not going to think that it was my favorite movie or anything. But man, it is like it made me anxious. It made me feel things, and for a lot of movies, that is exactly what they're going for.
So frenetic, right? Like the energy is just like so intense. And did you pick up? So I don't know if this is a spoiler. It's totally a spoiler. Should I say it or not?
Say it.
Okay, I'll say this. It's super interesting. Right at the very end, there's a clue that unlocks the fact that this is part of the extended universe of the Kubrick sex movie.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is an Eyes Wide Shut extended universe movie, and it's just like this kind of play on like what that world would look like in 2021, I guess, what the elite
Right.
look like, what sexual sort of slavery and these things look like nowadays, and how that would be impacted. So anyways, it's just a cool kind of interesting take on that universe as well. So
I didn't warn you about this question, and I apologize, but to put you on the spot, we have 21 different partner labels. Which one would you say do you most closely go, I love every single thing they've ever put out?
yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about that in a roundabout way. So, okay, AGFA is the short answer. I'm going to get into some when we do our top 5 here in a minute. I want to get into what I love and don't like about these labels. But AGFA to me is like, it's like bringing a metal detector into the sewer, and they just find the gold and like give us the gold, and they're just waiting in the sewer. Like they spend so much time watching movies that nobody else would ever watch.
Right.
And they're so generous to the filmmakers that are making these like absolute garbage, but like they would never say that. Like you would never get them to say that. They're like, everybody deserves a voice. There's an audience for everything, and like they have a certain elements like in the movie that they look for and they put out, and it just corresponds really well with me, I guess. What about you? Do you have one?
Well, first, before we pass the buck from your amazing accomplishments over the last year, Chris's podcast, The Live by Film, has had the opportunity to interview a lot of people. He's mentioned Fractured Listens multiple times. I listened to the episode that he'd had with Fractured Visions today, literally, and it's so good. I mean, the in-depth analysis for all those, it's great. But again, a long way to say, Chris had a chance to sit down with AGFA, and the amount of things that they talk about in terms of, bat pussy of all films and everything else, it is just so funny to hear the way that they love these movies that a lot of people hate. And then these gems pop up. Like you and I both have really connected to one of the same films from AGFA, and that's Effects. Effects really hit me hard the first time I saw it. And without AGFA, I never would have seen that movie probably.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm talking about, right? Like they do all this hard work, and so like all I have to do is spend what is it, $22 a month or something with the discount, and they just kind of feed me entertainment. And so yeah, and like they're all over the place too. There's like Turkish cinema they've put out. They put out movies from Uganda. Like they're all over the place. Like they love film, and like they don't really have a lot of borders and boundaries around what that looks like. So yeah, I like them a lot.
And they show no sign of slowing at all. Like they might have a busier 2023 than 2022, even from the sound of it.
Yeah, I think they said they're gonna have 17 titles in 23, which is great.
Wild.
Yeah,
absolutely wild.
Yeah.
For me, partner labels. You weren't supposed to throw that back to me. I might say so far Utopia. And it's a sad one to answer because Utopia has not been releasing as many as they were at first. So I'm kind of itching for some new ones. A lot of their titles are like, I'm a big sucker for documentaries. I'm a big sucker for like slice of life films, like Red Rocket from A24 last year. A lot of people hated it, but I loved it because it was just, nope, this is somebody's life and you take a look at it, basically.
Yeah.
And they've put out a couple of these movies that are literally just check out this portion of somebody's life and what happened and how they got here. And just to be able to inject myself into that period of time and really just live that for a minute and understand a shared experience that I couldn't literally be a part of, and empathize with that and grow as a person and discover new things. I mean, that's true culture right there. I love stuff like that.
Utopia is one of my 5. It's not the one that I brought down, so I'll talk about one that I did not bring down. Moments Like This Never Last.
Yeah.
Just like, what is that? I was watching this, like, I've never heard of this dude before. How have I never heard of this guy before?
Right.
And like, this is an amazing documentary. Like, I was just completely transfixed on it. Yeah, I agree. Utopia does great work. And then they put out random like silly movies about like arm wrestling and champagne and shit. So I feel like it's just the personality of the Kyle. He just kind of he has a funny sense of humor too.
Right.
But the docs are just incredible. Yeah.
I agree. You want to get into our 5 and then we can gush over the rest of the partner labels?
Yeah.
All right. You want to start or you want me to start?
How do you want to rank? Or does it have to be ranked, or is this just
Nah.
Let's start with Utopia then. I see a lot of movies. Last year I saw 300, right around 310, 315, something like that. Ooh. And this year I'm probably on track to a little bit less, because 250 to 280. It's hard to sort of like, I'll watch a movie and I'll appreciate it for what it is, but it's hard for me to stop and just be like, "What? This is amazing." Right. And this movie did it for me. Like this. I wish honestly there was a different cover, because I don't feel like the cover conveys like what the movie's really about. Like this woman, this is a better cover, I think. Like she's one of the coolest people I've ever heard about. She just happened to be interested in photography and stumbled upon the tagging scene in the 80s. Yeah. And because of that, just happened upon the hip hop scene in the late 80s. And was like documenting all of this with her camera. And how is her name not up there with the best artists in history? Like, she's doing very important cultural anthropology type work. And everything that she was documenting became like movements, like became huge. Right. And she's not, a billionaire. So I felt sad for that. But yeah, that one just completely floored me. And so anyways, that Utopia is number 5 for me. And that's the one I wanted to talk about.
That's a good one. I brought that one up to somebody who runs another one of the partner labels just this week, and
nice.
We just shared like this level of documentary when you can find a name that you've never heard before and see it placed in a way that you're amazed and how no one knows this name. Is shocking.
Yeah.
Speaking of names that nobody knows and documentaries, this is one that I think a few people heard of this story, but until this came out, I never knew all of the story behind this, and I don't know why, but I got super invested. I'm a big fan of Kid Candidate. This is from
nice.
Gunpowder and Sky, and this is one that I loved. It was short. I think it's only like 67 minutes long.
It is.
It is very real. It is literally just a young, like 21 or 22-year-old, literally running for city council. And the big thing that I loved about this is that it showed how much in today's day and age that local politics literally mirrors everything that happens on national politics. And it's the way that we have human interactions, even on a one-to-one level, is the same way that we are affected on a society level with a lot of these things. Yeah. It is scaled in a way that it makes it depressing, because spoiler alert, which it's results for an election, the kid loses, but to see how he gets to that point, it is a journey that I think a lot of people should see, especially in how politics are affecting a lot of people's lives right now. This is one of the most political climates that we've been in ever as a society. So strongly suggest Kid Candidate. This is a great one. Not a ton of special features, but it's still a good one. And the supplements are actually supplements. They supplement the story. It does provide some more context. You can watch literally everything on this disc in like 2 hours tops.
Yeah. Is it like one of them is like some of the ad campaigns or something? I'm trying to remember now. They do like maybe some interviews or something, right? Like I remember being pretty invested in that story as well when I saw it, because he ended up in Austin, I think.
Yeah, they had a film festival Q&A. There's a couple deleted scenes. There is an audio commentary, and then one of the people that is a little side character in our journey shares some vocabulary that he uses. But it's great. Overall, 2.5 hours, and you can watch the entire disc and really get like a huge chunk of this person's life, or something that was super important to them for a big chunk of their time on this planet. I mean, it's a big deal.
So it's I guess implied that number 5 is Utopia for you.
That was Gunpowder and Sky.
Oh, Gunpowder and Sky, of course. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Gunpowder and Sky.
I'm current on Gunpowder and Sky, but except for Tragedy Kills. Have you seen that yet?
I saw the old release of that. It was
Okay.
a burned disc, I believe. So,
Her smell was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting it to be that kind of like Sid and Nancy type of like self-destruction kind of story. That was pretty cool.
that is high on my list for maybe the best packaging of the last like 6 or 8 months or whatever.
No,
The
everything about that. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Well, do you want to do number 4? You want to kind of do like
Yeah, let's snake around. So we
Yeah.
just talked about AGFA. Let me get this out of this protector here. This movie is maybe the most glaring difference in AGFA's filmography. This is one that they collaborated with Shout Factory on. So much so that the Shout logo is even on the spine for this release.
Yeah.
And this movie is The Leather Boys. This movie is a lot of people talk about AGFA and they're like, oh, it's a so bad it's good film. This is a great movie. The Leather Boys is a very important thing in history. The back here, I think it was worded very well. It's been a while since I read this. Part of Britain's new wave of hyper-realistic kitchen sink films, The Leather Boys is a riveting mix of teen angst, biker thrills, and raging emotion. I mean, that alone is visceral, and the way that they deliver on that is genuinely a lot of what they're speaking to there. And this is one, it really sticks out from the rest of their filmography because it's not, cheesy shot on video. It's not somebody in a Batwoman costume on a bouncy ball. It's not, action with Hollywood films. It is a genuinely great movie, and so many people are not watching it. And it's up there. It's probably top 5 from AGFA for me.
They talk about it as when they saw the print come out of the scanner, they were like, "This could be a Criterion movie."
Right.
It's really it's a beautiful film. That's a great one to call out.
One that doesn't get the love either. AGFA gets a lot of attention for things, like the horror movie trailer show. Jungle Trap has been getting some love lately. They do a lot of great stuff, and like She Freak is another one that's super important. But this one is really good.
Yeah, awesome. Number 4 is, I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I've only seen one of the movies from the label, but there's a trend I kind of want to talk about, and there's a reason why it's on the list. So, like, when AGFA was announced as a partner label for Vinegar Syndrome, that kind of made sense. It's whatever that like fits, I guess, what you would expect. And now they're getting into these labels that are like Deaf Crocodile is the one that, the stuff they're putting out. They're not on the list. That's probably an oversight of mine. I've loved the first 2 releases they've put out, but they could easily be Criterion, Arrow, Indicator. Like, the stuff they're putting out is just world, like global, like art house kind of cinema. And I like this trend of moving away from Vinegar Syndrome into talking about OCN Distro, and into them kind of creating this new identity around Justin, who has seen, I don't know, 20,000 movies. Like, I don't know, like that guy's an encyclopedia. And so if you follow him on Letterboxd, Justin the Liberty, it's like every genre just cycles through. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's seen everything.
And he's got a list of 412 titles from that genre too, of every single title.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I know. It's amazing. And so I think I like seeing this kind of maturity of OCN Distro. And one of the labels that I think represents that really well, you mentioned one of them, which is Gunpowder, and the other one is Yellow Veil. So there's, Vinegar Syndrome can't be everywhere. So they're partnering with companies like this and finding new films that are probably, like in this case of Knocking, doing well on the festival circuit, but then just kind of being forgotten otherwise. And they're getting an outlet, and they're getting a distribution channel. And so if anybody from Yellow Veil is listening, please come on the podcast or come on Ryan's show. I'd love to hear their story. But like, I just think that this label represents to me sort of like what I like about OCN Distro in a way that I would never know about these films otherwise. And so I have the rest of them. I just need to watch them. But I'm finishing up Fun City. I'm all the way through Bilitis. I just haven't seen the most recent one. that I'm going to switch to Yellow Veil and catch up. But
Nice. That's a good call. I think Yellow Veil is great, so much so that I will share my number three, if that's okay, because we may as well just stick with Yellow Veil for a moment, so I can keep praising them. Blood on Her Name. This movie is a really good. It's a thriller through and through, but it's kind of approached as like a murder mystery to a point, but you don't know that, which makes it a really unique film. The acting in this is surprisingly great, and it is a story that I think I just attached to for some reason. But it was really visceral. It's one of those movies that you can tell it's set in like Arkansas or Mississippi or something. We're just watching it. You like, why is my room humid for some reason now? Yeah, Blood on Her Name, really good. Again, really good special features. Yellow Veil has done one of the better jobs, I think, as a partner label in solidifying solid releases and something that I am literally just dying to see what the next one is.
yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of one that's done a good job curating content, so I was trying to figure out which one to talk about. Jonathan over at Fun City, I think, has impeccable taste in movies. I, I would say this if he was here too. I think Bolitis was a miss. Have you seen it?
I have not watched it yet.
I was like, okay, like it's just like the first 20 minutes is just a bunch of like 14-year-old naked girls kind of like kissing and like getting, and it's like that soft focus of like the old Victorian kind of like period pieces and stuff. I was like, yeah, I mean, okay. And, you know, the director has an important role in history. I won't dog on it too hard, but yeah, I don't know. That was the Bolitis aside. I like his taste in movies a lot. I think his curation game is very strong, and he gets titles like his philosophy, which I love, is find a title that people might not know from somebody that they know.
Exactly.
And so he kind of knows how to market these movies really well. The one that I chose was Walking the Edge. I could have gone with 4 or 5 different other ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a great time watching this, and Born to Win, which I haven't seen yet, but I believe kind of feels a similar way. I feel like it's got that gritty kind of vibe to it, and so I hope he put out some more of these. Oh, this was from '83. I was going to say it was a '70s movies, but I like that whole William Friedkin, like we were talking about Don Siegel earlier. Like I like that kind of gritty street, like, you know, like handheld camera, close up kind of style of filmmaking, and I think that Walking the Edge fits that for me.
And all of Fun City really kind of fulfills that really well in different ways, obviously. But a lot of them, they're alluding to the Fun City, meaning classic New York, and it bleeds through in a lot of those movies. And if you watch the interview that I did with him last week, a lot of what he's pointing out is that these are movies from auteurs, from people, for people that did not necessarily see it, even though they love these auteurs. So
Yeah.
it's just getting a great release for something that really deserves it.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you want to do the snake thing?
Yeah, go.
Speaking of this trend I kind of mentioned with Yellow Veil, there's another label that only has 3 releases with Vinegar Syndrome right now, or with Ocean, I should say. And I believe they've just announced the 4th, although I don't have it yet. And that's Connie. And this is sort of an important label to me because what Yellow Veil is doing for horror, I feel like Connie is doing for just sort of important cinema. So the one I'll talk about is Cain and Abel. There's a movie that Criterion put out, I'm almost positive, in the World Cinema Project set that Martin Scorsese puts together, called Insian. And it's by this guy named Lino Brocka, who's sort of this big auteur from the Philippines. And then Connie has another one of his movies. And so this is kind of like, I think we've talked about this before, but it almost feels like cheating buying this from the Vinegar Syndrome store.
Right.
And I love that that's the identity that they're accepting. They're like, we're just going to, if you have a good movie, let's get it out there. And let's make this package is beautiful. It's, I'm assuming it's relevant to the film, but it's just this Lino Brocka character had he been French or had he been Italian or had he been American, like his films would be really well known. He makes these
Right.
beautiful, like gritty films. And Xiang is this kind of like rape revenge, very very light on the rape, more heavy on just like the girl kicking ass. And you know, he makes these films that like I wish more people would see. So it's exciting that he's getting distribution.
It is, and they are killing it. A lot of the stuff is stuff that had never gotten a release before,
Yeah,
which I am always excited to see from these partner labels.
yeah.
And um, not to toot our own horns or anything, but we are very varied tonight. I love that when we can do something like that. So speaking of varied, let's go from my number 2 to Teravision, and this is
Nice.
Killing Spree. Killing Spree is a movie that gets mistaken as a shot on video film a lot of the time, simply because of the style that it was shot in. This is a movie that was put out previously by SRS Cinema. I think that's the last word. SRS Studio. Yeah. Sub Rosa Studios is what they used to be called. That's what the SRS stands for. This is Tim Ritter's Killing Spree. And Tim Ritter is kind of big in the independent indie horror exploitation scene. And Killing Spree is freaking wild. If you've never seen Killing Spree, it is set in a little suburban house, and it's a story of essentially a boyfriend or husband going wild. And it is not. This is one of those ones that a lot of people say it's so bad it's good. It is, in my opinion, genuinely fun and super entertaining. But for the first time, it got like a great release. It got a really good restoration. The people that were involved in the film are all over the special features. It got everything that it deserved. And the biggest thing is it was put out by Teravision, which is now being helmed by Brad Henderson from Vinegar Syndrome. He started this little sideline with the guy that owns Teravision, the vinyl records label,
Oh, cool.
and they are operating out of Georgia. So Brad and this gentleman are working together, and they've put out a handful of titles. They've already got some more that they've announced. They have done some big things, like the WNUF Halloween special is the biggest one that everybody's loved. Norway, they put out a divisive little dancey vampire film. That's a weird way to describe it, but that's exactly what it is. Teravision has a lot of really cool things on the horizons, and I wanted to shout out. They just opened a shop in Georgia that you can go walk through, buy things, all kinds of that, and they already are opening a pop-up shop in New York. So Teravision is like making genuine waves right now. So if you want to get in on the ground floor or something, obviously the record label's been around for a while, but on the home video side, they are still pretty new.
Before we move too much on from Tim Ritter, um, he's one of the best at titles. Have you ever gone down his filmography?
Yep. I have too many of the Tim Ritter films.
So like just there's one of them in 1999 was Dirty Cop No Donut.
Yep.
Dirty Cop 2 I'm a Pig. Trashploitation, Earth Girls Are Sleazy, which is I guess maybe an unofficial remake of Earth Girls Are Easy, and then Cat NATO is supposed to come out this year.
Wonderful.
Anyways, yeah, good.
Cat
On
NATO.
I actually didn't know about the Brad connection. That's cool.
Yeah, Brad is currently one of the two people behind the home video side, and they just put out a documentary called Love and Saucers, and
Yeah.
that's one that Brad is very, very happy with. So if you're into it, I strongly suggest that new doc. I don't think that one will be on sale, but Killing Spree will be. So I think we're down to yours.
You want me to do number one?
Yes, sir.
Probably no surprise, based on your question earlier. Agfa. So the reason I chose Zodiac Killer is it's number one. I chose it because it's going to get a re-release in the next 12 months. So, look out for it. They said all the ones, they used to have a partnership with MVD Rewind. And that's why some of the releases don't have slipcovers. But once those sell out, they're going to go back and re-release everything. They have a very special relationship with Lisa Petrucci, who was married to Mike Rainey, who started Something Weird video. And I guess they talk about Lisa in a way that I felt the same when I spoke to her. She's amazing. Like she's this sort of she's, her husband died early. She didn't really know what to do. She just kind of decided to carry on this archive that he'd built up over his life, and they kind of built up together. But it was kind of mostly his thing. And now AGFA approached her. At the time, it was Alamo Drafthouse, I believe. Although they made it, I don't remember the timeline. It was either Alamo Drafthouse or AGFA approached her about sort of putting stuff out. They chose Zodiac Killer as the first title. So I love this story. It's a sweet story. Zodiac Killer is one where the story of the movie is probably better than the movie, but it's like an amazing story. Like this guy that ran 3 pizza shops just decided to make a movie with no like film background, and his goal was to try to actually catch the Zodiac Killer. So he like made this movie on his own money from selling pizza, and he like went to San Francisco and played it, hoping that the Zodiac Killer would come watch a movie about themselves. I don't think that happened, but it's a cool story, and I think it's a nice way of kind of starting off this label, which has become very deep with something weird, and I like that story as well. So that's my number one.
Something Weird is a label, a name, a brand that has been ingrained in a lot of things over the years,
Yeah,
and the history there is one that if you have never given the time to dive into it, I strongly suggest it. You'll find collaborations with Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Severin Films.
yeah.
There's a couple more even.
Arrow.
Yeah. Uh,
She said that they're actually gonna start putting out books because she just has like in her archive, like every single like nudie cutie that was made, or like a big chunk of them. So she's like,
Jeez.
let's just make a book and like sort of be like the definitive guide for these different like pieces of history. So
Wow.
anyways, it's cool. I'm excited to see what they do.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that would be awesome. This last one is I really didn't choose this for the entire label. Obviously, it's not my go-to favorite label. But this is the title that most took me by surprise recently. I had heard about this for a long time. I saw that it was streaming on Shudder. I had waited for it to get a good Blu-ray release because I knew that it was coming, and now that it's here, I really want more people to finally give time to watch Knife Plus Heart.
Yeah,
First off, wild cover. That is absolutely relevant to the film, which looking at that, you wouldn't think that it would be. But it absolutely is. This movie is genuinely great. This is the art that a lot of people know for this film. This is a very stylish, modern giallo-esque film, and it is a very queer film. It focuses a lot on that queer subculture, and it is extremely well made. It is a visceral heart attack from about 4 minutes into the movie until the very end, and it is one that is crazy. It is such a weird sticking out point for Altered Innocence because they do a lot of like coming of age films and
yeah.
nice cinema and romantic films, and then this shows up and I'm like, my god, this is amazing and heavy and gross in some parts, and it's not like overly gory or anything, but it's just so well made, and it's something that is very unique, and that always sells me.
I think it is. I think it's nice to call it out. It's the best cover of the partner labels by far.
It is so well made. I love it. Did you happen? I tend to always do this. I grabbed a couple honorable mentions. Do you have any that you wanted to shout out?
Oh, you know what? I didn't grab it. No, but I do want to say the if there's a label that would be like number 6 for me, it's Deaf Crocodile. Those I actually am like a little surprised that they didn't decide to go out on their own, but I'm glad they're going through Vinegar Syndrome. Dennis Bartok is sort of like Leonard Maltin for genre films, and sort of like less like he is this huge champion for horror and sci-fi and exploitation, and he was programming at the American Cinematheque for years. Like the guy is amazing as a just historian of movies, basically.
He's an encyclopedia.
You what?
He's an encyclopedia, essentially.
Oh my gosh. And he's met everybody. He has these crazy stories about like the people that he met and just had conversations with at the Cinematheque. Anyways, his partner in business, Craig, is probably one of the best restoration people working in the game today. I don't really. I guess I probably shouldn't say that. I don't really know what that means. But he did a restoration for Assault on Precinct 13. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That was the first thing that they like hung their name on, was that they were working on that restoration.
And it's just, I mean, it's amazing. So they restore these movies in house, and they put them out on the label. And the first two are great, and they've got the next one they have coming out seems wild. Like it's this Hungarian folk tale, I think, or maybe I don't even know if it's Hungarian. I should check that. But have you seen the cover for this? It's called Ilya, or maybe it's Turkish. Ilya Muromets.
Yep. And that I can pull it up too. That title has some crazy, like if you have never seen the trailer, this is one that's coming out this month, and a lot of people already have this, so it's not surprising. But they literally in the trailer show that they had almost 100,000 extras in this movie, which is mind-boggling. So this is the film.
Yeah.
And then the back, equally great.
Amazing.
I can't wait to get that one in.
Yeah, that's going to be like a day one watch for me, if possible.
Eric says he watched it last night and it has amazing visuals.
How did you see it? Are you like, I guess not on disc, you just saw it?
No, they're shipping already. If they are not subscribers, they are shipping already. People that paid for extra for shipping.
I see. Okay, that's awesome.
And Eric, it is absolutely selling fast as well. I wanted to throw that in there.
How is the how does it look? Does it look like, is it a beautiful looking film? If you can type it in, I'm just curious. That would be. I can't wait to see it. I'm so geeked out.
Everything I've heard is yes, it looks amazing.
Yeah, I know.
There are only 615 copies of that left, by the way. They had 2,000 copies of that at the first of the month, and in 18 days, they've already sold almost 1,400 of them.
Yeah, that'll probably be gone then at the sale.
Yeah, even though it won't be on sale.
It just looks badass. Anyways.
So 2 titles before we go on to the next thing. I really wanted to shout out Shiva Baby. I think this may be the best partner label movie I've seen. I think that this is my favorite story, my favorite environment in any of these movies. This is a tense, like awful feeling movie. They steal from like horror scores in this. It felt like Jordan Peele's Us, basically. It took some of the music cues from that, I feel like.
Yeah, they do that minimal soundtrack, right? Where it's just like those hard hitting like notes of like,
yep.
Yeah.
And it is great, awkward, and just amazing. I've championed it on here many times, so I didn't want to put it in those 5. And then the other thing, one label that is getting a lot of love from everybody else, but one that I've kind of hesitated to talk about because everybody else is. I'd rather shine a light on the little guys. Culture Shock Releasing is amazing. They are probably the most fun label for me.
Yeah.
This release is so good. It should not look this good. It should not be this good. It is such a great film. Girlfriend from Hell, highly suggested if you don't have it yet.
Wait, okay. So, Culture Shock is awesome. Their first release is called Zipper Face. It's only a DVD release. Have you seen the movie by chance?
I did when it first released. I was following them before they were a partner label, and I had everything that they were putting out. I loved them.
Okay, so the movie's fun, right? Whatever. Like I enjoyed it. But did you by chance listen to the director talk about the movie?
No.
Okay, so like I don't know why I'm laughing. The parallel kind of universe thing struck me, and I just was cracking up. So this guy was like an auteur in Iran. He was making movies and commercials and like I don't know, maybe even live theater. I don't know, but he was like super active in Iran. They had a government takeover, and he had to leave the country. So he ended up in LA, and he wanted to make like a movie, and he wanted to make a movie about infidelity, right? And I don't know. So you've seen Zipper Face, right? Like I wouldn't say that like. That's the first thing that when I'm talking about Zipper Face, it's not like this, but so he starts going into the story of kind of how this came about, and then he met with partners and they were trying to find a name, and like it started going down this kind of rabbit hole, and then somebody laid it on because he's like this, like serious, like Godard
Right.
type of, like he's a serious filmmaker. And someone's like, I think we should call the movie Zipperface. And he's like, I never thought I'd make a movie called Zipperface. But he's like, I mean, he can kind of laugh about it now, but it's a really good interview.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Culture Shock is great. In
I
conclusion,
might have to pop that back in. Yeah, they're great people. I was planning on having them on the channel, but they have been hard at work since they've been a partner, and every single month they've released a new title, and so far that shows no sign of slowing.
yeah.
I'm very curious to see what else they got coming out. John wanted to call out Beats from Music Box Films. Music Box is one that again does not get a lot of love. There's a handful of partners. Like Subculture has only put out one title. It's great. Deadlock.
Yes,
I can't believe that we have only got that one. Supposedly we're going to get another one soon. Enjoy the Ride has done 3 good releases so far. There's so many partner labels. There's Doppelganger. There's I didn't even bring up Saturn's Core. I did that interview with them, and everything that they touch is gold, basically. There's so much.
Sorry, John was the one who made that comment just now, right? John, have you? So that's really good to hear. So I saw Heavy Trip, which was another Music Box release. That movie was amazing. Like I was dying. Like that movie's awesome. So I was excited to see Beats. It feels like another one of these. I'm assuming it's a documentary, but it kind of chronicles like the early like EDM scene, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Beats
anyway.
is one that looked good. I haven't watched it yet.
That's a cool call out. I've been meaning to put that in actually. Yeah, Music Box is a good one.
Anything else from partner labels that you really want to highlight?
No, I'm trying to think. We've covered a lot of them on here. Probably the one that just slips under the radar. So if you haven't, if anybody on here is a fan of horror, which I imagine most of.
John says Beats is a narrative film, not a doc.
Interesting. Well, that makes me want to see it even more. If anybody hasn't seen The Last Matinee, I just want to call that out. It's worth. I think it's worth the price of admission. It's a cool, easy film to watch. The plot is like this thin, but it's just a really good gore, great slasher movie from Uruguay of all places. Like it takes. There's like some kind of urban legend around this guy that went into a theater in Montevideo and killed a bunch of people, and they fought back. And like, I can't tell how much of it is true or like a story they made up. I don't know. They were elusive with it, but it's a cool movie. So I think Dark Star's doing good work. And then, this is the thing, right? Like we haven't even mentioned Circle Collective, but everything they put out is amazing. And we haven't even mentioned Analog, but like what they're doing is amazing. So like, I don't know, man. Yeah, like just support the partner labels. Like they're all doing like great work.
They really are. This is one of those things. There's, I believe, 21, if I counted right, 21 different partner labels now. And this is where if Vinegar Syndrome is not your thing, there is something for everyone here. And again, it's hard to talk about this without sounding like you're just shilling for a bunch of companies. But genuinely, I have enjoyed literally almost all of it.
Big World Pictures. Have you seen Rebels of the Neon God? That movie's great.
I've not yet.
Speaking about a movie that could easily be by Criterion or one of these, like it's amazing. It's just like slow cinema. Taiwanese movie. It's really good. Anyways, yeah.
I just posted in the comments for everybody a really useful link. This is a link that will take you to only the Vinegar Syndrome titles that are currently under 500 left in stock for the limited editions. It is a very specific, only things less than 500. So if you're looking for, a certain title and you're keeping up to date on it, that is one of the best ways that you can. I wish it covered all the partner labels as well, but it only does Vinegar Syndrome at the moment. There are, a lot of things that could potentially and probably will go out of stock during this sale. So keep an eye on things if you're trying to watch those at a sale price.
All the Culture Shock stuff is under 50, I think.
Yeah.
Most of the blaxploitation stuff is gone. I will be gone this sale, I'm sure.
Yep.
I've been keeping a separate tab for some of the stuff I want to pick up on this sale.
Just remember, if you have not, I did put out a video, I think it was last week, about tips and ideas for the sale to help people. And one of those is what is going out of print and what will just be temporarily out of stock. If it's going to be reprinted, there's no reason to jump on it and feel like you have to get it right now. The limited editions, if you're really dying to have those slips, make sure you get those ones that you want quick, that are lower in count, because literally with some of these sales, if you wait 30 seconds, they sell 80 copies and the title you really wanted is gone already.
Yeah.
But to chronicle the sale, I will be live next Thursday as it goes live with all of you, going through everything that we see announced, new things like the catalog slips, the box, the mystery titles that we'll finally see, the VSAs, merch like this wonderful Vinegar Syndrome Sucks shirt. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff. Supposedly, there's going to be at least a partner label or two releasing as well. It's an exciting time. Really is. And there's a lot to love here. I'm just a big fan of all of it.
So, I don't see the link. I'm just making sure it came through. It says private chat. Oh, wait, comments. Am I on the wrong tab? Oh, there it is. Oh, I'm just on the wrong tab. Here it is. In stock 500. Okay, cool. Yeah, John, you said Circle Collective's assholes. That movie is nuts. I think I don't really fully understand the connection, but I think Kyle from Utopia is somehow connected to Circle Collective. Like, if you go onto their site, it feels like it's just this collection of people that are trying to, get theatrical releases for a lot of these movies, and they're doing some home media stuff as well. But yeah, that in stock 500 is really good. Actually, I'm going to copy that link.
I've also heard that we are supposedly going to be hearing about a couple more new partner labels before the year is out. Not sure if that's coming in the next 60 days or anything, but I would not be surprised, especially because June is going to be an all partner label month again.
Yeah, right. What do you think there's any that would be like the first to go? Not based on quality of film, but just based on like Subculture, for example, right? Like, that movie was awesome, and like it was this beautiful package. But where'd they go?
Like, to break out on their own, you mean?
Or they're just like, hey man, you got to put out a certain amount, to like get partner label.
Yeah, I'm not sure. From what I hear, we are getting another Subculture release soon. I think that some of these, for example, let me look up who it is, because let me pull up my Instagram again, because it was announced, I think, in the last 2 weeks. There are a couple labels that are putting titles out through OCN, but they're not coming out through the Vinegar Syndrome site. Did you hear about that?
No.
So one of them, they're just selling it everywhere else. Like, it'll probably be available, but it won't be like a limited slip release. It's just going to be a regular release. So let me share this. We got 2 of them. Hold on. Let me delete this. Oh, can't delete that. Sardis, can you delete that comment? Share screen. The one that just got announced, this is Best Part. This is coming from Altered Innocence, and it will not be getting a slipcover through the VS site. It is still coming through OCN, and it is, I believe, available now already. And then on top of that, we got announcement for this one. Strawberry Mansion is coming from Music Box Films without getting a slipcover. And this one is coming May 31st.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, just because I know this is somewhat interactive, John. I clicked to the comments tab, and I just see your comment about Crestone. Crestone was awesome. Do you remember what that comment was about?
When you were talking about the beats, he was saying when you were thinking that it was a funny one, maybe you were thinking of Crestone.
Oh, got you. Okay, yeah. No, Crestone was cool. It was that movie was fun. I just thought it was a doc based on the cover, to be honest. It has that like that guy just kind of getting into the just kind of vibing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so we got two of these that just out of nowhere. The only reason I even found out about both of these is that the Altered Innocence one, this one, My Best Part, was listed as available from Diabolic. It showed as in stock, and you could purchase it now. I had no clue. It was there ready to go, and then I was looking on, God, it might have been Amazon for something, and the Strawberry Mansion came up as a suggested title, and I was like, wait, Music Box Films, wait, what? And went and checked it out, and yeah, it looks like they're putting it out without a slip, which is kind of surprising, especially for Music Box.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, I guess they can do what they want. That's
Right.
cool. If OCN is not being too strict with them on that, but
Well, OCN's still doing it, so
whatever. Anyways, I don't know. I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but yeah, it's just so convenient to go to the site and just like click through the ones you want to get.
agreed. And it'll probably be there eventually.
Yeah.
I know that the like Altered Innocence, those ones that were released before they were a partner label, they were selling as well. So,
You know, Sardis, so to your question, it's interesting, the two labels that came up. So I don't fully understand the Music Box numbering system. I don't think, because they have another label called Doppelganger.
right.
And like there's some confusion, like Heavy Trip is a Doppelganger release, but the spine says Music Box 1. So I don't fully understand that relationship. So I don't know how much the
And
number.
the Heavy Trip spine, it has the DG Doppelganger logo too.
Yeah, so I don't know how much the spine kind of matters in that sense for them. And then Altered Innocence does this thing where I think it starts on 12 and then there's a jump to 15 and then 20 or something like that. And then it goes in numerical order. So it just happens to be those two labels that you mentioned. I don't think they're holding to a tight kind of number system.
And then, of course, the classic one is AGFA has a missing number that was supposed to be a title that Vinegar Syndrome eventually released, and now we'll never get. I think it's number 12 or 11.
11.
Yeah.
So I emailed them and I was like, "What happened to number 11?" And they're like, "Oh, it came out through Vinegar. It's called Flesh Pot on 42nd Street. It's in the Severn." So it's funny the way this world works. It's in the Severn Al Adamson set now, but I got the Vinegar Syndrome release of it and I just put it in the AGFA section because that was driving me crazy. So it's just sitting there now as number 11.
John says to partner Pals with Severn's Kinky Collection. That was Pals was one of those Eloy Iglesia titles that came out, and Severn also has done a bunch of those. So yeah, it's just a really good time for a lot of these auteurs and directors and partners, and most of all us. We get to reap all the benefits.
That's awesome. Yeah, the Pals is the Altered Innocence one, right? That's I haven't seen that yet, but that's the one with just like the nipple cover, right?
Yes, I don't think that's Altered Innocence. I think that might be Utopia. Pals is it is Altered Innocence. I apologize. Huh. Which one? There was another one that came out right around that time. I always confuse that with.
From Utopia? Utopia did Champagne and Shit recently.
Oh, El Planeta. That's the one that they just did.
El Planeta. Yeah.
And this one, directed by Amalia Ullman. That's supposed to be a good film. I haven't been able to watch that one yet. Well, anything final you want to throw out there other than maybe hawking They Live by Film one more time?
No, thanks for always being so nice about that. If anybody wants to come check it out, we're not making any money on the podcast. It's just it's a passion project for me. I have been collecting for 20 years and thought it'd be kind of fun to try to talk to some of the people that I was collecting from, and was very surprised that people kept saying yes. So we have, I don't even know what it is now. We have 20, 25 episodes of interviews, just sort of like just interviews. People have been extremely generous with their time. And yeah, like it's amazing. Like they're incredibly honest. And if you just want to learn about the back end of how the kind of boutique world works, I'm trying to chronicle it along with Ryan here. We're both kind of doing our parts. Oh, thank you, man. Sorry, I really appreciate that. I'm just like a guy. Like I'm in sales and I just collect movies. Like that's the thing. Like I'm not, I don't even have a film background. I just watch a lot of movies, and this is sort of a dream. It keeps me happy in my day job that I get to do this kind of stuff.
And busy. I mean, you guys put out a lot of stuff. I'm extremely jealous of the people you've been able to nail down already. I'm stoked at your ability to get these incredible interviews and just the wisdom out of these people that we don't hear on a daily basis. So
Thank
kudos
you.
to you.
And John, thank you so much for calling that out. So we were like, hey, should we talk to filmmakers? And we were like, yeah, I guess. And that's kind of cool. And then like, who should we talk to? And so I was like, hey, Justin, any chance we could talk to this Curtis guy? He's like, sure. And so Curtis said yes. And like, that's just an example of what I'm talking about. Like he was the most, I mean, thank you for calling that out. He's the most down to earth, like honest, like there's no pretense in Curtis. He's just like a guy that loves movies and he's getting to make some movies. And he was so humble about what he did, but like what he did with New York Ninja is super impressive. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that one. I kind of pinch myself sometimes. We're trying to schedule, we have a yes, but not a date with Yellow Veil, with what's the ones that have come through recently? Saturn's Core, which I know you just spoke to as well. So the Fractured Litions podcast. I have this kind of Machiavellian plot. I want to get to know those guys really well and then get to Bill Lustig. That's like my holy grail. My holy grail used to be Criterion, but honestly now if I could have just sit down, I heard the Bill Lustig interview. If I could have a chat with that guy about physical media, holy cow. Like that guy, if anybody wants to hear a good podcast, listen to Bill Lustig just bullshit for an hour or an hour and a half with the guy from Fractured Litions. Like the stories that Bill Lustig tells, the guy is like he's just an enigmatic guy and he's an amazing storyteller. And that's kind of one of my white whales now. I'm trying to get him on.
That's awesome.
But I appreciate you giving me some time to talk about that.
Knowing the way that you get into the weeds with these people, I want to see Chris talk to David Gregory.
Yeah, send him my way. I mean, the Masker Lewis from Masker Video shares an office with him.
Yeah.
So like, it should have happened, but he's just he's obviously a busy guy. But that guy, I mean, what a legend. And there's a particular phrase that I really want to hone in on. Bill said on this interview with Luke over at the Fractured podcast, he said that when he was on 42nd Street, which was, I guess, like literally just a street in New York back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, there was a particular way that they would market these movies where they would say like, some kind of like crazy, like loud, crazy thing is going to happen, like murder, sex, whatever. And then you go in and it's just a rehash of a movie that was already played under a different name and like a different marketing ploy. And so it was like this shady kind of, but kind of funny marketing, very particular marketing style that has come through in the way Anchor Bay, Blue Underground, and Severin all like market their stuff. And now Vinegar Syndrome as well. So I think that like that 42nd Street kind of mentality has been carried through by the people that grew up in that world. And, they make these films sound like they're the Mount Rushmore of filmmaking, and you watch them and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But like, it's just, they're so good at marketing and telling that story. So that's what I want to kind of focus on. Andrew Bartok, you're naming all the guys that are on my on my dream list. But if I get them, I'll send them to you, Ryan. And if you get them, send them to me because I feel like we're doing this. I feel like we've talked about this offline, but there's a kindred spirit here. You're doing it on video, and I'm doing it on audio because I think I look fat on screen.
God no, God no. I look like I ate you. I appreciate your time. I genuinely hope everybody that's still hanging out love the discussion. There's just so much to dive into with Vinegar Syndrome and all these partner labels. And Chris is one of the most the voices on the forefront that I absolutely wanted to put near the tail end of this Vinegar Syndrome month. Thank you guys for being here for the rest of what we've been doing over this last month for Vinegar Syndrome. There's so many interviews and videos and just call outs that we've been able to throw out there, and it's finally coming to a head. We are 1 week away, and all of this can suddenly be solved. We can stop speculating on mystery titles and VSAs and just celebrate. So
how are you gonna orchestrate the buying versus the like talking about the movies?
Carefully. I mean, the big thing is, as a sub, a lot of what I'm buying is brand new, so it's not going to sell out in the first 4 minutes. So I don't have to worry about that, thankfully.
But are you like purchasing as you're live?
I'm at least putting it in the cart just so I don't forget. And then maybe opening that in another tab while I continue to talk on camera.
after I purchase, I'll join in. I have to.
Awesome.
Because I've got my list, but I have to. But I'll join in after I'll be chatting along with the rest.
This is the first time that I've been doing this live as the sale goes live. So I usually post all the announcements immediately, and it's going to have to wait because this is going to take precedence, obviously.
I know this is going to sound petty, and I don't mean it to. With all due respect to Severin, I know they're trying they're trying their hardest. It would be really interesting to see you live cast during a Severin sale.
There was one time I was trying, you talked about my research offline. I was worried about getting some information right when I did my Severin guide that I put out, and I was trying to figure out what sale was it that they last worked for like the longest period of time. I went back to other YouTubers' live streams and watched them going, nope, it's not up yet. Nope, it's not up. Oh, there it goes. Let's go buy. Oh, nope, everything's frozen. We got to sit here for a minute. Oh, there it goes. And then just trying to go in there and going back to, the last 6 sales or watching people just frustratingly click things it's so rough.
The thing like, there's nothing that sells out unless you really want that like $300 like thing that they're pushing, which that's totally cool. I get it. There's nothing that sells out right away.
Right.
That's the thing you kind of learn. Like, if they're putting out 5,000 of something or 3,000 of something, like, it's going to be there in the morning. It's going to be there. Like, let that wave like go and like let it crash and then let it come back and then go make your purchase.
And that's the same thing for Vinegar Syndrome. Unless there's something that there's only like 14 of them in stock, you don't have to press buy by 12:05. You're going to be all right.
I will do it just out of habit, but no, you're right. I know you're trying to end, so I don't want to keep like having.
Oh, I can talk for another half hour.
You know that like Return of the King where they like keep having these like extra endings. Like I don't want to do that. What about Frankie and his pals?
That was the Intervision DVD that was numbered, and it sold out within like 30 minutes, and that was during the sale where they had everybody send in their emails. No, and so only certain people that got their emails in time got that DVD, and everybody was pissed. And then nobody liked the movie anyways.
Well, that was the funniest thing, is that like they made a big like marketing kind of hubbub about this movie. I mean, the movie's all right, but
right.
What is it going for? Because okay, so I want to. Okay, that makes me. Sorry, 1 second. I want to see how much it's going for on eBay right now.
It had been high for a while. Like I saw it sell for like $75-$80 for a while.
Oh, now it's down to like 30. Okay, so 2004. I just wanted to. Yeah, exactly. It's shot on video. Fun, exactly. So 2004, I was working at Blockbuster Video. Maybe 2003. The first Beavis and Butthead set was coming on a DVD. So of course I was excited about it naturally, right? And it came into Blockbuster. It was in the box, and it got recalled because some idiot forgot to clear the music rights. And it's all like metal and whatever, but like it's right. Like big bands that are in the show. It's like real music in the show. It's not like
right.
What's that, home movies or Metalocalypse where they're like making the music. It's like, they have like real music. So because it was in Blockbuster system, they let people buy it. So me and let's call it like 100 or something of the dorks in the world that knew about this like arbitrage opportunity quickly bought like 3 copies. And at one point, I shit you not, Beavis and Butthead Volume 1 was going for like $1,000 because it got recalled. And they were like, this is never going to get re-released. It was kind of like that Wonder Years fiasco where they were like, the right music's never going to get released. And now there's like, you know, a million of them online. You can get it for like 50 cents or whatever. But there was like this really brief period in time when there was all this chaos created around this DVD that was never going to get released. And that's how Frankie and his pals.
It is, yeah. I still can't believe we had a sale where we had an email list of titles.
Amazing. I got in somehow. I'm not the like F5 jockey or whatever. Like I came in like an hour late or something, and I had to hit refresh like 3 times, and I went through. But I think that particular, I don't mean to shit on Severn. I know they're trying, but that particular sale, I think I got my stuff like a month later or 6 weeks later, and I was like one of the first. Like I felt so bad for them. Anyways, but Vinegar Syndrome. This is, I mean, just to kind of like, you know, this is a thing that's impressive about what they do, right? It's like, I don't know if they crashed a couple years ago, maybe they did, but like they kind of figured it out. And like their website doesn't crash. Like it might load a little slowly.
I think the last time the Vinegar Syndrome site had any problems was about 2016.
Right? So they kind of know where to invest their money, and like they did it, and it works, and it's pretty smooth. I mean, these sales kind of go like they should.
Well, and there's also no doubt that they're getting more traffic as well. So not only are they handling it, they're handling more, and they're handling it better.
Yeah. So they obviously built the infrastructure to support this traffic, and good on them, man. I mean, I hope they become like a, you know, do you remember buying from Deep Discount back in the day?
A little bit. I've never been a real big Deep Discount fan.
I mean, they were like, it was either them or Amazon for years, right? Yeah. It was like a place to go before they even consolidated. It was like Deep Discount DVD. You went and you bought, and if you wanted CDs, it was like maybe CD or music. I don't remember, but like it was like, you know, you went to this place and you got DVDs, and yeah, it was. Yeah, and I hope they kind of get to that level. Like I'd much rather support them than Amazon, and you know, the people at the top. I don't know if they're greedy capitalist pigs. They don't seem that way. They seem to be like movie loving, you know, decent people. So.
Speaking of Deep Discount, if anybody's interested, I did not post this on Instagram, so I did not cover it, but there are a lot of imprint and umbrella titles that are in their blowout bin right now, which are literally like $7 to $12, which is wild. If you want, or maybe you've got a little bit of extra saved, there are some really good limited imprint titles that are in stock at Deep Discount for next to nothing.
Speaking of Australia, did you get the Mad Dog Madigan from Indicator?
I did, and
Mad Dog Morgan. I mean, sorry,
Mad Dog Morgan. Yeah, it looks great. Just watched that. Yeah, really good movie.
That's one of the ones that's coming in whenever they ship out my Panini organization. I can't wait to get it in.
And that one is out of print in the UK already, and like on the verge of going out of print in the US as well.
I've been going through. I'll let you go. Last thing, I've been going through like all these kind of old classic movies through this Warner. But did I talk about this last time I was on? They're like Warner Brother put out their like, here's the 100 movies we want to represent us. And yeah, I thought I did maybe. So I've been kind of going through it, and one I saw last night was Giant, and it has a young Dennis Hopper. And it's crazy to see him like all like made up, like heavy makeup on, playing sober. That 50s sort of, you know, whatever. What?
I said sober.
No, really. Like he's just playing it straight. It's so surreal. It's like, you know, seeing what he did later in his career, you're like, oh, this is who he was at, you know, 20 or whatever.
Dude McMahon says, I picked up the Deep and Bad News Bears and Timeline from Imprint for $11 a piece.
Wow.
That's crazy cheap. Again, I don't mind talking for another 20 minutes. So if you got other stuff, I'm fine. I will talk about this stuff all night long. That's awesome, man. No, I mean, I think supporting Vinegar Syndrome is supporting the good guys. I was really happy to come on. Obviously, any excuse to come hang out with you. I have this like weird, cause, you know, like in my day job, I sell like $20 million deals, right? Like I'm working on right now. It's literally like
a $20 million deal, and I'm trying to sell. It's super boring, like IT stuff. And I just have this weird sense that like Severin and Blue Underground and Synapse and like these labels that have been around for a while, the founders are just like kind of close to retirement. Maybe they're already semi-retired. Like I just have this hunch that they're going to look at what OCN is doing and either try to duplicate it or be like, can we just join y'all and like let's just call let's just have like a place to go for good, genre filmmaking or something. And hopefully Jesse or Mike or one of them gets involved in it if they decide to go that route. But I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I just have this hunch that like, there's all these random labels that are out there that are like, you go through their own shop. Every time a new Synapse Steelbook comes out, like I go buy from them to give them the support. But I feel like Vinegar Syndrome is doing something really, really important. I just don't know what it's going to be exactly yet.
Slipcovers. That's all everybody's clamoring for. But in all reality, I did kind of want to touch on that before we left. Is keep in mind as you're going to the sale, if you get disappointed that you missed out on something, the movie is still there. In 99% of these things, the movie is what's important. Yeah. Don't have to worry about those slipcovers. There are very few things about to go out of print. There are a few, but there are not very many. And for the most part, the good thing is what's in that case. And I strongly suggest you focus on that. And speaking of focusing, is there anything like that you're really gunning for in this sale?
I just have this like need to see everything that VSA puts out. I can't even describe it. Like I've seen more Jalal Mary films than I ever thought I'd care about. Like someone referred to him as the Lebanese Steven Seagal, and I was like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like I just, they put out Action USA, and that was like a day one purchase for me. Like that's legit one of my favorite movies of all time. And so I was like, all right, I'm in. Like whatever they do, like I'm in. And they've had some duds, but for the most part, you kind of know what you're getting. So the new VSA titles, and then they're releasing a new VSU as well, right?
The new VSU is Cloak and Dagger. Yeah, we do know that one. Cloak and Dagger in 4K, 2 VSAs, 2 mystery titles.
That's right. Yeah. So that's what I'll be focusing on, I guess. What about you?
Mostly just the new stuff. As a sub, I've got all the bare packaging coming. The VSAs I'll take a look at. It's getting a little difficult. I'm not super fan of all the cheesy action stuff. Some of them they just happen to hit. They're perfect, but man, I don't need to see any more Jalal Mary. I really don't. I really wish that we could focus on things like the martial law and the Action USA, and even like the Alley Cat stuff like that. A lot of those were way better than the last few. I think.
I was surprised at how much I liked The Grave. Did you see that?
I've not watched The Grave yet. For some reason, I keep putting it off.
No, I mean, like it's not I wouldn't say it's an important movie or anything, but like it's good. I was surprised. I liked it way more than I thought I would. So
then for some reason I really expected to hate Fortress of America, another Trauma film. I put it in, I was like, dude, this is amazing.
Freaking Trauma. I don't know what it is, man. Like it just my heart. I love everything that Trauma does. No, that's not true. They put out a lot of garbage, but I love this stuff. You've seen Champagne and Bullets, right?
Of course, yeah.
All right, good, yeah. Or Get Even or whatever. It's like 5 names.
Yeah, it's one of those passion projects that you can see. Not only does it have 3 cuts, it's got 3 names. Why? Who knows? But here we are. That's one that shot up in price that I did not expect. That thing is going like consistently for like $80 online.
No way.
Yeah.
What's the point? Okay. Last question. What's the point where you would consider selling some of your like limited slips? Like if it got up to blank dollars, you'd be like, man, that's hard to pass up.
I mean, I don't think there's an answer for that unless there was a problem in my house. Because some of these, like the Bloodhook slipcover is the one everybody talks about, that has legitimately sold by itself on eBay for $200 just for a slipcover. And
not the movie, like just the slip?
Well, the movie's still in print. So, I mean, that's not even that big of a thing. You can buy that for like $14 during a sale.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, if that was the case, that would be probably that one. And then there's some other titles like the old limited titles, the Nightmare, not Nightmare Weekend. What is the other one? The Crypt of the Living Dead and the double feature Blu-ray that they have. Those go consistently for like 150 plus.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. What I mean, some of these shelves are very expensive. I don't understand who's spending $300 on some of these titles.
Yeah, some of the budget's not much higher than $300 on some of the movies.
That's very true. Very true.
Interesting. Yeah, the closest I've ever come, I've talked. It's not a Vinegar Syndrome thing, but that old Criterion DVD of Kurosawa that I have, I've seen it go as high as 1,000, 1,500. I don't know if it's sold, but I've seen it listed at that price. And
Right.
typically, I think it sells around 750, 800. That's the only one where I'm like, I've seen these movies before, like, but I don't know, like I can't scalp. Like I don't want to scalp. Like I'd probably put it out there for like $200 just because I wanted somebody to have it. So I haven't done it yet, but.
Sardis says, I used to throw away the slips. They just got in my way. There's a lot of people that did that and they're kicking themselves now. And it's what always gets me is the Scream Factory slipcovers that go for big bucks, because those are literally like paper cardboard. And a lot of the Scream Factory ones, they came in the plastic wrap. So all of the corners are trashed. You can see like the paper peeling on a couple sides, and they'll put them online. It's like, here, $120 your best offer. And they'll sell for like $105. It makes no sense.
Terror Train is high right now, right? I think that's one of the ones that's super expensive.
It's not on the top tier. I think it was for a while until Scorpion re-put that movie out.
Oh, okay.
And that's a lot of people's problems right now is Scream Factory is either re-releasing all their own titles again on 4K, or places like Vinegar Syndrome is getting the rights for these, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Right. For example. Yeah.
Oh. I fear that is going to be the theme of the year, with a lot of people complaining about it in the process.
The re-releases?
Yeah, and to a point, I understand that, but if a company like Vinegar Syndrome can take a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, put it in 4K, and get new features for it, I mean, I'm all about that better package.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that they're completing stuff too. Like they put out Scanner Cop.
Yeah.
So now the Scanner series is like complete. You can go through Criterion, Scream, and Vinegar to watch that whole series now, which is kind of
and
cool.
The only ones you can get in 4K are Scanner Cop 1 and 2. Not even Scanners. Scanner Cop 1 and 2.
Not the Cronenberg movie. No. It's amazing. Awesome.
Oh, anyways, I will let you get to sleep. Thanks for your time tonight, Chris. You're amazing. Again, everybody go subscribe to They Live by Film. I know most of you guys listen to podcasts as well. Please, they do better work than myself. So many of their interviews are things that I'm jealous and inspired by. I can't believe the names that they've gotten so far, and I just strive to be like you when I grow up.
Oh, whatever, man. But thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate it.
Thanks for everything, everybody. We'll see you next week. From one collector to all of you, have a good night.